Hey friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. I'm out in the garden today. I did hurt my back a couple days ago, so as much as I want to be out in the garden doing things today, I'm not able to. So I did come out and I pulled some weeds until my back said, okay, we're done. But I wanted to kind of show you guys what's happening in the garden. I did get some weeds pulled and I'm trying to get the beds prepped for the fall garden. But right now the summer garden is in full swing. So let me show you. She is massive. I mean, do you even see where some vegetables are? Like it's just one massive collection of plants. So this year I did go into this garden with the full intention of planting every available space. I didn't want to leave any space open that could hold food, and I think I successfully accomplished that. I have so much coming in so many different places. It's insane. So that brings me to the conversation of the August garden. The August garden is both my favorite garden and my most hated garden. It is my favorite garden because in August, every time you come out here and you look in the garden, you have so much to pick. I am not harvesting near what I should. Once I put you guys down, I'm going to go harvest a few things. But this garden is just given so much food. The thing I hate about the August garden is it's become unruly. At this point, I can't keep up with the weeds. I can't keep up with trying to keep everything maintained. It is just an unruly mess. So like I said, I did come in here, I did clean out 2 beds. I'm starting to work on a 3rd bed before my back was like, no, you need to stop. It's just to the point that the August garden just takes a lot of effort. And at some point you kind of just gotta let it go and be like, okay, do your unruly thing, go wild. And then come fall, when everything starts dying back, is when we can kind of get the garden back to the pristine state that we like it to be. But right now, I'm just letting it go crazy. I'm sitting here talking to you and I can see right there is some okra that I didn't even know I had right there. Clearly. That okra needs picked, so I'm gonna pick some of that today too. But if you are in a place like me where your garden has just taken on a mind of its own, at this point I always just let it go. I always say, okay, you do your thing and just embrace the wildness of this garden to an extent. But the August garden is definitely a garden that has a mind of its own. So let's do a quick walkthrough. I'm not going to plant my fall plants right now. I'm going to plant them maybe tomorrow. But let's do a quick walkthrough of the garden and I'll show you everything that's happening. So this big vine that's coming out is a Cucuzi squash, and it's actually winding itself up and over the arch. And when you come in, you can see this massive amount of weeds that have just taken over the entrance. And then I have this massive zucchini that is still doing beautiful things. I have a big zucchini down there I have to harvest. Oh my God, it's just, there's so much, I don't even know what to take in. So these zucchinis have started to die back, and I need to rip them out. There is, right there, you can see it, there is still some flowering happening, but these guys are going to get ripped out in the next day or 2. And I think I might just leave this space open and not plant anything for the fall, just kind of leave it open. It's also time to come in here and start looking at harvesting some seeds. So right now the bees, or not the bees, the birds have been enjoying the sunflower head. But as soon as this is nice and dry, I'll be harvesting some of those seeds for next year. When I talk about weeds, this is my wood chip path. And as you can see, not very wood chippy anymore. So that's something I'm really not focusing on right now. Come fall, when I rip everything out, I have a ton of cardboard that I've been saving, and I'm gonna come lay the cardboard down here and hopefully kill everything over the winter, and then again wood chip in the spring, and hopefully that helps take care of the weeds. This was a beet bed. I have a couple of beets left. I'm gonna pull the rest of them today, and then this bed is gonna get completely emptied and it's gonna get replanted for fall. Back there is a carrot bed and obviously a lot of weeds. There's a lot of weeds. So again, we have a lot of weeding to do. And honestly, it's incredibly intimidating. I think that's why I've kind of well, it's been super hot. It has been 90 plus degrees. This garden has no shade. I'm not trying to be out here weeding when it's 90 degrees. I just say let the weeds do what they want to do. But it is incredibly embarrassing and intimidating that I had weeds that are taller than me. Let's show you some more weeds that are taller than me. Right here, this was my snap pea bed, and I need to come rip off the snap peas. I was letting some dry on there, dry on here for some seeds, but as you can see, there are massive weeds. Okay, at least weed-wise, that looks a little better. I did start to pull, when I pulled the weeds, a little bit of my snap peas came off, but that's okay. And this bed still has green beans at the bottom. Again, some weeds, but green beans at the bottom. So I'm gonna let those green beans stay. This bed that I just pulled the weeds out of today was a broccoli bed. You can see there's an okra, but this was a broccoli bed, and this is gonna become the fall cauliflower bed. And then, I don't even know where that bed is. I planted flowers. They are definitely taken over. Got some zinnias, some cosmos, some sunnies. Definitely, and then, you know, a good chunk of weeds, but they're definitely taken over. And then this bed was the onion bed. And I've started working on pulling the weeds. I still have a ways to go. But my back was saying you're done, and I need to get a shovel and like dig out some of the weeds. They're really rooted in there. And then this is the sweet potato bed. You can see there are sweet potatoes starting to come, but they're definitely not choking out the weeds like I wanted them to. So this is going to be another thing. Once I pull the sweet potatoes, we're going to pull the weeds, cardboard, and heavily mulch it for the winter. So that is incredibly embarrassing, and I cannot believe I'm just showing you guys all of that. It's a lot. What I keep trying to tell myself, I keep trying to give myself grace, is that this garden is producing so much food. It's producing so much food that who cares about little weeds? But it's a lot of weeds. It's really a lot of weeds. But then everything too is massive. Even the vegetables are massive. So that kale, and Miss Fig in the back, that kale is huge. That is easily waist high. I have some Swiss chard over there that is also about waist high. So even though my weeds are huge, my vegetables are getting huge too. Like this zucchini over here, this is the biggest zucchini I think I've ever grown. It is massive, absolutely massive. And then I have a butternut squash that is planted right there by that pot, and it goes all the way over there, covers that whole space, and actually is growing up the little greenhouse, and then it comes down here and it's going down through there. So there's one plant that is doing massive things. So again, is it a mess? Yes. Am I intimidated by all the weeds? Yes. But I do know me, and I do know by the time the first snow flies, this bed will be back in order. It is intimidating knowing how much work needs to go into this bed for it to go back to bed in the wintertime. But it always happens. It always gets done. And I'm just thrilled. I am thrilled with the fact that my goal this year was to plant every available space, and I've planted so much, I've lost my walkways. So next year we need to scale it back a little bit. But I have planted so much that I have so much food coming in. It's amazing. Is it the prettiest garden? No. But is it feeding me? Yes. And that's really all that matters. Good morning. it is a few days later and I'm finally able to get out in the garden, and it's perfect. It is a gorgeous like 56 degrees right now. It is beautiful out here. So I don't have too much time, unfortunately. At this point, I never have time. I never have enough time for what I need to do. But I'm like, I have to take a moment to get out here and at least get some fall seeds in the ground. So I have cleaned off 3 beds. I cleaned out this one. This one was beets last year. And then I've cleaned out these 2. I still have 2 more beds. I would like to clean out to plant for fall, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And then back there is a mess. It's my carrot bed, and I just started checking the carrots, and the carrots are still pretty small. So I'm going to actually just let them go. They're taking a really long time. I don't know if they need more fertilizer. I don't know. They're taking a really long time, but the ones I pulled while they're like this big, they're gorgeous. So I was like, I'd rather just let them go, and it's gonna be okay. So it is August 13th, and the one thing I do like to do, especially with my carrots, and I think you can do this with most of your in-ground vegetables, is I actually overwinter them in the ground. So I'm gonna plant my carrots now, and I'm not gonna harvest my carrots until the winter when I actually need to use them. Last year I harvested my carrots up until February, and then February I pulled them all out and used them all at one time. But they can actually, like, the snow can lay on them, they can freeze, and they actually do, they're completely fine. They do great. I've come out and I've dug through snow to find carrots, and I really love that way of preserving my carrots. That way I have fresh carrots throughout winter. So I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna take one of these beds over here, and I'm gonna turn it into just a big carrot bed, and that's the bed I don't intend to harvest. I just intend to leave, and then when I need carrots, I'll just come out and pick some. I did start broccoli and cauliflower plants. I did. I then stopped. What I mean by that is I started them inside and I had lights on them, but when you're only starting like 10 plants, checking them every day and having light on them and watering them every day is not a thought that you normally have. So they got incredibly leggy, so I brought them outside. I started to harden them off, and when I mean incredibly leggy. So I brought them outside for one day, started harvesting them off, and then I was like, I don't care. And I left them outside all day, and they quickly died. So I'm okay with that because they were actually like really terrible starts to begin with. Like, I don't know if they would have even given me anything. So that's kind of why I was like, okay, let them die. But this is why I never have a fall garden, is because I have so much to do that I don't start the fall plants. And when I do start the fall plants, I don't give them the attention that they need. And yeah, then I don't have starts to plant. I might try to go to the what's it called, the store today, like Home Depot or Lowe's today, to see if they have any leftover starts. In that case, they will be from the spring, so I don't know if they actually will do anything or not, but it might be worth it to see if I could find something to put in the ground. I am gonna put seeds, broccoli and cauliflower seeds, in the ground, but at this point I don't know if they'll actually give me anything, so I might actually wait and see if I can find any like leftover starts to plant. But as of now, I don't think I'm gonna have a broccoli and cauliflower harvest in the fall, which is what I wanted. So I'm kind of annoyed with myself, but also I'm like, this happens every year and we know this. So I am going to get the carrots planted, and I'm gonna do one bed of carrots and one bed of beets. I'm gonna go ahead and get them planted, and then I'm going to do a quick harvest, maybe do some more weed in, and then call it a day, which really sucks because this is a perfect day to be out in the garden and I don't have a lot of time. It is what it is, right? So I lied. I think I'm actually gonna plant lettuce in this bed. I went to the grocery store yesterday. I'm just gonna do some mesclun mix. I went to the grocery store yesterday to get lettuce for a salad, and it was $7 for a big box of lettuce. And I'm like, that is insane. So if I can get this guy open, just try it again. I'm just gonna take this mesclun mix. I'm just gonna sprinkle this all over this bed. I have some spinach in here. We're just gonna throw some spinach. I'm just gonna do like a big lettuce bed. And when I wanna have salads in the fall, hopefully, I can just come out here and grab it. Let's see what else I have. A couple things of Bibb lettuce. So I'm just gonna sprinkle a couple of those seeds over here as well. And just have, hopefully, a really nice lettuce bed.
Here I'm prepping the bed by pulling out any extra weeds or any extra plants that I missed when I last emptied this bed. And I'm doing the Lazy Girls water, and I'm just pouring water on the soil and mixing it in. I decided I wanted to plant some rainbow carrots. It's the first year planting rainbow carrots, so I thought they might be fun to try. And when I plant my carrots, I have tried the square foot garden method where it's 9 carrots per square foot, but I don't have very much success with that. I really just prefer throwing the carrots on the bed, and ideally you're supposed to come back in and thin the carrots, but I don't do that. Again, I'm a lazy gardener. So what ends up happening is I just get a little bit smaller carrot, but I still have a really good germination. I still get a good amount of carrots. But if you were to sprinkle the seeds like this, you would need to ideally come through and thin the carrots so you don't have them growing on top of each other. With carrots, carrot seeds need to stay moist. So one of the good ways that you can keep your carrot seeds moist is by putting a piece of wood on top of the carrots. So water in the soil real good, planting your carrot seeds, covering them with soil like I'm doing here. Just lightly cover them with soil and then put a piece of wood on top of it, and that'll help keep it from the seeds being washed away if it rains too hard, or it also keeps the soil from drying out. If the soil dries out, the seeds will not germinate.
So we're in my kitchen now. This video has been a little all over the place, but I wanted to wrap this video up with hopefully a shot of real life. And I want to normalize a working kitchen. One of my biggest issues that I have is I want my kitchen to be clean all the time, and I want it to be spotless. And I keep having to tell myself, like, Caitlin, this is a working kitchen. It is never going to be spotless. And right now it's cannon season, and it's not spotless. And this is why, so like what we have going on here is why my garden looks as awful as it is. The garden's giving me the produce, so now I'm trying to get the produce preserved and put away before it goes bad, so the garden now takes the back seat. But let's normalize a messy working kitchen. This entire island, I have my dog's dog food that I've just made that's cooling. I had some peach juice I just canned. I have salsa going on the stove. This is heating up some jars. I'm getting ready to can the salsa, so that's going. And then in here on my dining room table, I have all of the peaches that I've canned. I have a basket of kidney beans, or no, pinto beans that I need to shell. I apparently have a kitty. I still have half bushel of peaches that need to get made into barbecue sauce. I have all of this zucchini that needs to get shredded and frozen. And I have down there Monroe. This is why we don't have nice things. He is the epitome of if I fits, I sits. Do you have any shame? Do you have any shame? You're such a cutie. Welcome to my life. This is why we don't have nice things. And then the last thing I have is over that big crock has some sauerkraut in it that whenever I get to it needs to be canned. So let's normalize a working kitchen. This kitchen is a mess. I hate it. I don't think he thinks the beans are very comfortable. But can we normalize a working kitchen? I really would like this to be like okay, and for me not to go to bed at night feeling guilty that my kitchen is trashed. But this has been a vlog that's kind of been all over the place. But thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you guys